I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network, and this is a breaking news alert. We are getting a new clip from the January 6th committee of Nancy Pelosi reacting to news that Donald Trump wanted to join the insurrectionists storming the Capitol building and himself appear within the Capitol during the insurrection. Nancy Pelosi's statement here is incredible. Play the clip.
Secret Service said they have dissuaded him from coming to Capitol Hill. They told him they don't have the resources to protect him here. So at the moment he is not coming, but that could change.
Oh, he comes, I'm going to punch him out. This is
Oh,
my
wow,
moment.
I would pay to see
I've
that.
been waiting for this, for trespassing on the Capitol grounds. I want to punch him out, and I'm going to go to jail, and I'm going to be happy.
You know, that unfiltered, unapologetic response to Donald Trump trying to invade the Capitol, trespass on the Capitol with these insurrectionists who were literally at that time defecating in the Capitol, attacking police officers, urinating on the floors of the Capitol building, storming into the chambers where the members of Congress were. And the members of Congress had to go to safe and secure locations. I mean, Nancy Pelosi's response was incredible. You know, we also saw that clip was not released during the January 6th committee hearings on Thursday, but a clip that the January 6th committee did show was Nancy Pelosi taking leadership, taking charge, essentially functioning as the president of the United States, not just in the absence of Donald Trump, but with Donald Trump being a traitor and siding with the insurrectionists, not just a mere dereliction of duty by Donald Trump, but an affirmative decision to side with insurrectionists, provoke the insurrectionists, encourage the insurrectionists, and cause the insurrectionists to try to attempt to murder and kill politicians, to try to stop the peaceful transition of power on January 6th. And here is the clip. It's about a few minutes long of Nancy Pelosi actually taking charge. And one thing I want you to note when you watch this clip, though, is look who's there. Steve Scalise, the MAGA Republican extremist, is just standing there and watching Nancy Pelosi take charge, because later in June of 2022, Steve Scalise would have the audacity to hold a press conference where he said, what we really need to be investigating here is what was Nancy Pelosi doing. We need to be focusing. Nancy Pelosi was doing her job. Nancy Pelosi was doing the job that Trump should have been doing, that a president should have been doing. She was the one who was leading. You saw it. And how dare you go in June 2022 and start gaslighting? Let's play the clip and show what true leadership looks like. This was played during Thursday's January 6th committee hearing. Play the clip.
We have got to finish the proceedings, or else it will have a complete victory. There has to be some way we can maintain the sense that people have that there's some security or some confidence that government can function and that we can elect the President of the United States. Did we go back into session?
We did go back into session, but now apparently everybody on the floor is putting on tear gas masks to prepare for a breach. Well, I'm trying to get more information.
They're putting on their
Tear gas masks.
I'm going to call up the effing Secretary of DOD. We have some senators who are still in their hideaways. They need massive personnel now. Can you get the Maryland National Guard to come too?
I have something to say, Mr. Secretary. Well, I'm going to call the mayor of Washington, D.C. right now and see what other outreach she has to other police departments, as Leader Hoyer has mentioned. Hi, Governor. This is Nancy. Governor, I don't know if you have been approached about the Virginia National Guard. Mr. Hoyer was speaking to Governor Hogan, but I still think you probably need the okay of the federal government in order to come into another jurisdiction. Thank you. Oh my gosh, they're just breaking windows. They're doing all kinds of. It's really that they said somebody was shot. It's just horrendous, and all at the instigation of the President of the United States. Okay, thank you, Governor. I appreciate what you're doing, and if you don't mind, I'd like to stay in touch. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Virginia Guard has been called in.
You know, I'm just talking to Governor Northam, and what he said is they sent 200 of state police and a unit of the National Guard. They're breaking windows and going in, obviously ransacking our offices and all the rest of that. That's nothing. The concern we have about personal harm, personal safety, is it just transcends everything. But the fact is, on any given day, they're breaking the law in many different ways. And quite frankly, much of it at the instigation of the President of the United States. And now, if he could at least somebody.
Yeah, why don't you get the President to tell them to leave the Capitol, Mr. Attorney General, in your law enforcement responsibility? A public statement, they should all leave. This cannot be just we're waiting for so-and-so. We need them there now, whoever you got.
You also have troops. This is Steny Hoyer. Troops.
Okay, so we have a little
Fort
bit of time
McNair,
to make that decision.
Andrews Air Force Base.
All right.
Other military bases.
Thank you.
We
Thanks,
need
Paul. Bye.
active duty National Guard.
How soon in the future can you have the place evacuated, pulled, cleaned out?
I don't want to speak for the leadership that's going to be responsible for executing the operation, so I'm not going to say that because they're on the ground and they're the
Well, just pretend for a moment it was the Pentagon or the White House or some other entity that was under siege. And let me say, you can logistically get people there as you make the plan. We're trying to figure out how we can get this job done today. We talked to Mitch about it earlier. He's not in the room right now, but he was with us earlier and said, we want to expedite this, and hopefully they could confine it to just one complaint, Arizona, and then we could vote, and that would be, then just move forward with the rest of the state. The overriding wish is to do it at the Capitol. What we are being told very directly is it's going to take days for the Capitol to be okay again. We've gotten a very bad report about the condition of the House floor with defecation and all that kind of thing as well. I don't think that that's hard to clean up, but I do think it is more from a security standpoint of making sure that everybody is out of the building, and how long will that take? I just got off with the Vice President.
And I got off with the Vice President-elect, so I'll tell him.
Okay, but what we left the conversation with, because he said he had the impression from Mitch that Mitch wants to get everybody back to do it there.
Yes.
I said, well, we're getting a counterpoint that is, we could take time to clean up the poo-poo that they're making all over literally and figuratively in the Capitol, and that it may take days to get back.
And I'm at the Capitol building. I'm literally standing with the chief of police of the U.S. Capitol Police. He just informed me what you will hear through official channels. Paul Irving, your sergeant at arms, will inform you that their best information is that they believe that the House and the Senate will be able to reconvene in roughly an hour.
Good news.
Your sergeant at arms will be in touch about the process for getting members back into the building.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. Good news.
And then I'm going to show you this clip now. This is Steve Scalise with the audacity and these MAGA extremist Republicans saying, you know who's really to blame for January 6th? Nancy Pelosi. What was Nancy Pelosi doing? No. You know who was to blame? You are to blame. MAGA extremists were to blame. Donald Trump was to blame. That's who's to blame for what took place on January 6th. Inspiring, encouraging, provoking insurrectionists to try to kill these politicians, to storm the Capitol, to overthrow our democracy. A date that will live in infamy, embarrassing, humiliating our democracy. And how dare you, Steve Scalise, and you MAGA extremists, continue to gaslight, to try to overthrow our democracy. You know, the insurrection is still going on now with people like Steve Scalise and spineless cowards like Kevin McCarthy, who still remain obsequious and praise the cult of the person who they call Orange Jesus. It is the most anti-democracy, anti-American thing ever. How dare these people? That was my response. That was my reaction after watching the January 6th committee hearing. Let's go and play this clip of Steve Scalise right now. The coward, the gaslighter, the frickin' traitor. Play the clip.
Jim Banks just raised some very serious questions that should be answered by the January 6th Commission, but they're not. And they're not for a very specific reason, and that's because Nancy Pelosi doesn't want those questions to be answered. In fact, she took the unprecedented step of kicking Jim Banks and Jim Jordan off of the January 6th committee because they were going to ask those questions that a lot of people would like the answers to.
You know, and normally when you watch these videos with me, you know, you see a much more even-keeled, but I'm telling you, when I watch that, that just makes me angry. It makes my blood boil, but I am thankful, I am grateful that we had a real leader in charge in Nancy Pelosi on January 6th, because what she did should not be deemed as political. What she did defending our democracy. She took an oath to protect and to preserve our Constitution. That shouldn't be a Democrat thing. It shouldn't be, oh, this is what the Democrats did. Both political parties should say, insurrectionists taking shits and defecating and pissing at the behest of Donald Trump, a weird bag cult leader. That's wrong. That is not what this country stands for. And yet you have people like Kevin McCarthy, you have people like Steve Scalise. These are the people who want to make decisions. These are the people who tweet out from the House Republican Judiciary Twitter account praising Kanye West after Kanye West sends out anti-Semitic statements. They go, oh, we love Kanye, from the House Judiciary GOP account. Are you kidding me? These are people who, after the verdict is rendered against Alex Jones, go and praise Alex Jones and say, oh, Alex Jones is targeted by the regime. He's not targeted by a regime. What the hell are you talking about? Alex Jones defamed families who lost loved ones in school shootings. The most disgusting and despicable thing, to terrorize the families who lost someone who got shot up in a school and call them actors and inspire people literally to go to try to piss on the graves of people who died in school shootings, to have parents deal with that torment. And this is someone in Alex Jones who you root for, who you say the regime is going after Alex Jones. No regime going after. It's a jury of his peers. Listen to the arguments. He didn't even show up for the first part of the trial, which was the merits. He defaulted, went in front of a jury, and a jury of normal Americans said that is the most disgusting thing that you can do to spread those false and defamatory statements about families who lost loved ones in the school shooting. Yes, that is worth hundreds of millions of dollars in damages, and for the aggregate group of about 15 plaintiffs, worth about $1 billion for what he caused and the pain and torment he caused terrorizing these families who lost loved ones. It is despicable. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch. Look, before we go, these MAGA Republicans, we cannot let these people take charge. Steve Scalise, Alex Jones, supporting pro-insurrectionist. We need real leaders. And when you see that video, when you see Nancy Pelosi's response, that's a real leader. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribing is free. Hit the subscribe button right now. And in addition, if you want to help support independent media, head out to our Patreon website, patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Subscribe now.
MeidasTouch is unapologetically pro-democracy. And look, we know you are too. So please make sure you check out our best-selling shirt and our best-selling gear, the unapologetically pro-democracy gear. And hey, while you're at it, make sure you check out my favorite shirt and one of our most famous designs. It wasn't rigged, you're just a loser. At store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.